your overarching dietary philosophy. What are the kinds of things that we should be looking for when pushing our shopping carts through the supermarket? What are the kinds of, you could take it at the level of food category or individual foods that really excite you. And what are the kinds of foods that we should be steering clear from if we want to keep angiogenesis within a nice, healthy range in our bodies?
Yeah, we spent time talking about angiogenesis, but let me kind of back up for 1 second before I go into, kind of hyperspeed to kind of share with you how I think about shopping in a grocery store, for example, and what to choose and what to stay away from. First of all, when it comes to food and health, it's not just about the food. It's about how our body responds to what you put inside it. That's how, doctors think about drugs. Whatever you put into your body, there's got to have an effect in the body. And so, out there you hear all the marketing about this superfood or this super supplement. I can tell you there's no such thing as a single superfood or super supplement. If you want to call it something super, it's the human body. It's pretty awesome and amazing on what it can do. And what it can do best, better than anything else, and what we inherited when we kind of emerged from our mom's womb, is the ability to resist disease. It is a result of your body's hardwired health defense systems that we're born with. From the day we're born to our very last breath, we've got at least 5 health defense systems that I write about in my book, Eat to Beat Disease. Angiogenesis, our circulation, is one of our health defense systems. Good circulation, good health. Out of control circulation, cancer, macular degeneration, et cetera, et cetera. Second health defense system is our stem cells that are in our bone marrow that can come flying out to regenerate our organs slowly every single day. We're actually repairing and replacing ourselves, regenerating, not like a salamander or a starfish, like we can't grow back an arm or a leg, not yet. But one of the things that we can do is we can replenish aging and kind of like slightly kind of worn out organs. And in the same way that foods can actually cut off extra blood vessels and grow good ones, there are certain foods that can actually help prompt and recruit stem cells into the circulation to be able to help accelerate our regenerative properties. Like foods that can cause regeneration is quite an amazing concept. Our microbiomes, our third health defense system, our healthy gut bacteria. A lot of people talk about the microbiome, and it's one of the pillars, 5 pillars of my concept that I talk about in terms of healthy food, because the foods that we eat can either harm our microbiome, our gut bacteria, which then harms our immune system, harms our brain neurotransmitter system, harms our ability to heal. Okay, our bacteria really control a lot of these, influence a lot of these healthy systems. And if you feed the bacteria with things that they like, you nurture your bacteria like you'd feed your dog or your cat or your bird, and you treat them well, your bacteria become really vibrant, and they actually help our brain and our immune system and lower inflammation and help our metabolism. Fourth one's our DNA, fourth health defense system, which we think everybody thinks of genetic code as DNA. Turns out our DNA protects us against the environment in ways that we hadn't even thought about. For example, you're pumping gas. If you still drive a gas car, I always ask people, do you stand upwind or downwind of the pump? And people look at me and say, well, why are you even asking that question? And I say, if you can smell the fumes of the gasoline, you are standing downwind. And those solvent vapors in your lungs are causing DNA mutations. Why don't you get lung cancer right away or the next day? Because your body's DNA is protecting your health by fixing itself when it's damaged. You're out there in traffic, with the window down on a sunny day in the summertime, you're not lying out on the beach, you're not in the sun tanning booth, but you are getting that sun on your arm. That's causing DNA damage on your skin. So how come you don't get skin cancer only in your left arm when your arm's out the window? Because the DNA is being fixed. So you can eat foods, including carotenoids, that can help speed up your DNA fixing itself. And so that's really, when you ask about what's my framework, my concept, it's not only about the food, it's about how your body responds to it. So there's no single food. In fact, I write about more than 200 foods that you can easily find in the grocery store. Most of them in the perimeter of the grocery store, in the fruits and plant-based section, but also in the seafood section for those people who actually still eat seafood. And although we were told to avoid the middle aisle, it turns out that there's a lot of really good things in the middle aisle. Beans, whether they're dried or canned, tree nuts, um, uh, uh, really great for the microbiome. It's got good healthy fats. Olive oil, right? There's certain olive oils, 3 varietals, monovarietals from Italy, Spain, and Greece. I can tell you what they are: the Cornecchi, the Moriolo, and Picciolo olives. If you can get monovarietal olive oils, they have the highest levels of cancer-starving anti-androgenic polyphenols. So I have a great time going into the middle aisle. I'm very selective. I ignore all that ultra-processed stuff and the candy bars and the weird colored chips, but I know what I'm going for. And so really, my whole philosophy is know what you like, what you love to eat, know where it's located at the grocery store. When you get in that store, make a beeline for it. Kind of ignore all the marketing stuff. Go for the carrots if you like the carotenoids, or the red bell peppers, or the kale, or radicchio. Like I love that kind of stuff. And then if you're going to go into the middle aisle, make sure you've got some good healthy oils. You've got some nuts and beans and all those kinds of things that are good for you. Spices, dried spices, also good for you.
I love that. It sounds like the dietary pattern that you recommend is pescatarian, is like a sort of Mediterranean pescatarian hybrid. Would that be an accurate statement?
My approach is really flexible. So if you're pescatarian, it works. If you're vegetarian, it works. If you're a vegan, it works. And if you are somebody who is an omnivore and you eat pretty much everything, what I tell you is that if you spend most of your time eating foods that actually build up your health defense systems, the stuff that's not so good for you that you should ignore. So what are those? Eating a lot of red meat, which you should cut down or cut out. Eating ultra processed foods, taking in sugar sweetened beverages, and also eating artificial sweeteners. Those things are definitely not good for your health defenses. Like the research has shown, they take down and damage angiogenesis, stem cells, microbiome, impair your DNA, and they take down your immunity as well. So there are clearly things that actually are not so good for you to eat. Not so much because they're intrinsically evil, but when you put them in your body doesn't respond well to them.
What would you say is the primary problem, or maybe there are more than one, with red meat? Is it the saturated fats?
So it's a great question. Everybody tries to pin things on saturated fats, and there's a controversy now about saturated fats. Some people say they're not necessarily as bad as they're not. You don't want to demonize them. They play their role as well. I think that part of the issue about a heavy meat diet is really the overage of eating meat, and by the way, that meat is treated in factory farming. Also doesn't actually help the quality of the meat, the antibiotic laced foods, meats, the way they're treated. And because some animals are actually fattened up with steroids and other, artificial things, you're not really getting a pure food. You're getting a doctored food in a way that's not so good for you. We do know, by the way, that eating preserved meats, which I didn't put on my list, but not just red meat, but preserved meats, the deli meats, the things that we probably all grew up with, as kids, you get a piece of bologna, you put it between 2 pieces of white bread and put some, artificial mayonnaise on. Everybody has had that experience, right? At least in this country, that kind of experience. And we know that artificial processed meats are actually rated by the World Health Organization as a carcinogen. And all the data shows that people who eat a lot of processed meats. I'm not talking about the naturally processed meats, like the salamis and things hanging in the air in Italy or Sardinia. I'm talking about the mass-produced stuff that you get at the grocery store. That's not good for you. And so I think that let's focus. This is what I tell people. Let's focus on the things that you love that are good for you. Yeah. Let's find ways to make them as tasty as possible.
I love that you qualified that, because honestly, when I see, when I read the statement from the World Health Organization, I'm thinking to myself, yeah, it's the bologna that people are eating, in between the 2 slices of white bread with the mayo, with the soda, with the bag of Sun Chips on the side. It's like, it's the milieu.
Exactly.
It's not
exactly,
and I'm not saying that meat is good for you either, but it would be impossible in my view.
Well, it's just like the lectin story, or
Yeah.
like it's so easy to try to find a culprit and then paint them as most wanted, and then send a vigilante team to go hunt them down. Like it's not that simple.
Yeah, I agree. If you are opting to, hey, if you like that video, you need to check out this one here, and I'll see you there.